Hello, my dear friends. So I'm very happy to share with you this segment. It's a virtual accelerator for startups and scale-ups that already offer a product or a service, which is run by a P&G alum. We believe in the power of connecting P&G alums. And the purpose of this initiative is to link P&G alumni founders with P&G alumni investors and P&G alumni advisors in order to accelerate their growth. This is the very last stage of the program, and today you have a role to play. Stay engaged. You will help us select who will be named the star P&G alumni entrepreneur in 2021. Let me first thank greyhairworks, the sponsor supporting this project. They firmly believe in great entrepreneurs and in the entrepreneurial spirit power to change the world for the better. They themselves curate some of the most innovative digital and tech-based solutions worldwide. So they see a great fit with the spirit of the P&G Alumni Business Catapult. Thanks for their support. I'd like to introduce the team that made this possible. First, my partner in crime, Katrin Seifarth. We both are board members of the P&G Alumni Network, and we call it the Enrichment Committee. And Claudia de Heredia, she is a very successful and energetic entrepreneur herself, and actually she participated in the first edition of this program in 2019. This was also possible thanks to the support of our regional leaders. They did the heavy lifting of running this program in the regions. All of them entrepreneurs and investors. Marvin took care of North America, Beate of Europe, Arturo of Latin America, and Dominique managed Asia and Africa. We had a very strong participation, beating the results of the first edition, with a very diverse and even representation across regions, including Europe, North America, Latin America, Asia, and even Africa for the first time. We received applications from 5 continents. 74 entrepreneurs applied versus the 50 we had in the previous edition. 50% more. We also received 36 applications of potential investors and 61 of advisors, all of them with a global footprint. Katrin?
Yeah, thank you so much, Laura. I'm so glad we arrived in the finals. As Laura already mentioned, we had a long process. So half a year ago, we started already with the regional selections. The regional leaders selected the global finalists. And then from the global finalists, again, there was 4 that made it into the finals. It was a really tough decision. And I would like to share with you the selection criteria based on which we made the decision. Of course, first of all, we look at the product and the service, that we have really a distinctive proposition here. We look at the market potential of the business. So is there true potential in the market? Of course, we also look at the financial business model. We pay great attention to the strengths of the team. Do we believe that there is a strong team behind? And obviously, we also paid attention to the social environmental impact. We paid a lot of attention to the UN sustainability goals, which we heard about a lot already today. So whenever you come to your vote afterwards, you might reconsider these criteria as your criteria as well, because this will help you make your selection. Now we come to the final moment, because you will meet our 4 Global Catapult finalists. I have to do a little bit of housekeeping here. These finalists, as you have heard, they have been to 2 pitches already, and there's one thing we do constantly. We constantly shorten the time they have to pitch. So we started, I guess, with around 10 minutes, and there was 6. And today we are very, very strict. All of them have 3 minutes only. So as soon as you start pitching your business, the clock will be running, and when the 3 minutes are over, a bell will ring, and you have 2 more sentences. They negotiated with me, so 2 more sentences to say, and then we have to cut off in order to be fair for everybody. There won't be any questions you can ask. So within the pitches, they've already integrated many of the questions that came from the audience. And you will hear now the 4 finalists, one after the other, with their 3-minute pitches. And it's really, really tough. The decision will be tough, I'm pretty sure. I wish you all lots of luck. And let's start with Steve Meller from Ch4 Global. The stage is yours.
Right. So it's clear that climate change is simply the greatest problem facing mankind today. Recently, methane has come into focus for its potential to achieve and impact 2030 global greenhouse gas reduction goals. Headlines just here from the past couple of weeks leading up to COP26 in Scotland highlight the urgency globally. My name's Steve Meller, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Ch4 Global, where we're solving the key issue, the key sustainable way for climate change impact through 2030. The discussion today on methane often centers around the oil and gas industry, but you might be very surprised to find out today there's an even bigger source of methane, cows burping, enteric fermentation. Today, the 1.5 billion cows on the planet produce more total greenhouse gas output than the US, the EU, and India combined. Ch4 Global is on a mission to deliver a reduction that would well exceed the commitments just made this past week at COP26 for the global methane pledge that has now more than 100 countries signed up. What we've been focusing on at Ch4 Global over the past 3 years is development, commercialization of a natural and readily scalable feed additive product for these 1.5 billion cows, representing a $1.1 trillion market opportunity. The feed additive is a freeze-dried red seaweed called Asparagopsis that's native to Australia and New Zealand. When fed at less than 0.5% of the daily diet, it inhibits methane production in excess of 90%. It appears to be unique in doing this, and there's almost 10 years of published peer-reviewed scientific proof now optimization leading up to scale commercial validation in late 2022 with the opening of the world's first commercial scale facility in Australia. Coupled with increased existing global demand for product today, will then expand to other continents through key partnerships we're in the process of establishing now, both geographical and sector-wide. We've been able to do all of this because of our business model leverages partnerships across the value chain to facilitate scale expansion, a focus on our farmer customer needs, and because of our phenomenal team with several hundred years of product development expertise. This disciplined approach has enabled our key IP to be developed and will ensure product delight across the global market as we scale. Our focus on achieving net positive benefits for the planet enable unique environmental, social, and cultural impacts on a global scale. And because of the impact on the ocean, the land, and the atmosphere, we enable a large number of sustainable development goals, 13 of the 17 actually. So who wouldn't want to be a part of an incredible journey enabling the world to address climate change at scale over these coming decades so we can create a better journey and a better world for generations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Steve. And I knew you would all be able to make it in those 3 minutes. Thank you for your pitch. And we'll move on from North America to Europe. We'll move on from climate change topic to health solutions. And I will pass the word to Benoit Tas for NeuroPath. Stage is yours.
NeuroPath is a digital health platform that helps people suffering from neurological diseases. It consolidates data for remote monitoring, and it provides therapy. Let's take Parkinson's. We create meaningful touch points along the care path to intervene faster, to lower costs, and to create a personal care path to improve quality of life and outcomes. And here's how. The patients get daily alerts to confirm their medication intake. The NeuroQual survey measures the patient's quality of life, and our markerless motion capture software analyzes the patient movements. Speech therapy measures voice parameters. The cognition module provides simple exercises and cognitive assessment. When the patient is walking, symptoms such as freezing or shuffling can immediately be reported on the smartwatch. All this data will be analyzed by artificial intelligence, creating insights, detecting specific events, measuring disease progression, and monitoring treatment efficacy. And this will enable the clinical team to intervene faster and to create a more personalized care path for the patient. In addition, these data insights will be beneficial for researchers and pharma. So 10 million people are diagnosed with Parkinson's today, and that will double over the next 20 years. Almost 20% is younger than 64. There is also a growing shortage of neurologists. The scaling potential of chronic neurological diseases and beyond is big. Our financials are based on a bottom-up approach, a willingness to pay, and pricing of other digital health services. We expect revenues coming from reimbursement, enterprise licenses, subscriptions, and data licenses of over 100 million in 5 years for an investment of 32 million. The predicted ROI is a multiple of 30 to 50 for Series A and Series B investors. We expect to break even by 2025 and be cash flow positive by the end of 2023. We have a very experienced and international team, including the founders, senior developers, and also a Parkinson patient. 2 advisors are neurologists in Chicago-based Centers of Excellence of Parkinson's, and 1 neurologist has a tremendous experience in pharma. Kevin, who's also a P&G alumnus, has 30+ years executive experience in healthcare. We work with University of Helsinki to use artificial intelligence in the digital care path. In the US, we work with the Veterans Health Administration, with Rush, the first movement disorder clinic, the Davis Finney Foundation, the largest patient advocacy group with 550,000 members, and with the University of Chicago. NeuroPath is doing well while doing good. We bring innovations in the digital care path with interdisciplinary partners. We collaborate to gather real-world evidence. We improve quality of life, reduce healthcare costs, and create a community platform to educate people. Our long-term aim is to contribute to the prevention and finding a cure for future generations. On behalf of the team, thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, and another time well hit in 3 minutes. Thank you, Benoit. NeuroPath. And we travel around the globe. We continue. I guess it's in the middle of the night for you, but you're there, Abndre, which is super. Maybe it's already the next morning. I lost completely control of the time zones. Ecoworth technology. So from health, we're going back to waste reduction and improving water quality, and the stage is yours.
Thanks, Katrin. Hello, everyone. My name is Abndre Stolz, and I have left my P&G career to follow my passion for sustainability and environment, and to make an even bigger impact. At Ecoworth Tech, I get to turn waste to worth. Did you know that 80% of the world's wastewater is being dumped back into environment, largely untreated? Current treatment solutions are very inefficient and often create additional waste, while legislation is tightening and corporates require the reuse of water. Ecoworth Tech has a solution by turning waste to worth. Focusing on industrial water treatment, oil decontamination, and maritime, which are all sizable markets, we are supporting several SDGs. Ecoworth Tech is commercializing an environmentally friendly sponge that we call carbon fiber aerogel, or CFA. This material, which I'm holding in my hand, is made out of a natural waste. The capability to absorb a wide range of organics like oils, grease, fats, dyes, solvents, ultra efficient, up to 190 times its own weight. And as you can see in the video, like a sponge, we can simply mechanically squeeze out the organics, reuse them, and then redeploy the sponge over and over again. So compared to single-use sorbent materials, we have a clear competitive advantage. And we're incorporating CFA into the right form factor. So for oil and gas companies, we provide solutions to either extract oil out of interceptors or oil traps, or to prevent the oil from entering into the ocean. For industrial water clients, we not only remove up to 99% of the contaminants, but also provide the capability to recover available organics, in this case, perfume oils here in the validation, and that at half of the cost and with positive environmental impact. For oil and gas, we are offering a commercial heavy-duty filter solutions that works very reliable even during process upsets. And we found our first paying customer in the so-called sour water applications, which is enjoying a 40x ROI compared to current solutions. Compared to other sorbent technologies, ours is the one with the clear point of difference on the organic recovery, the positive environmental impact, and the low cost. The technology has been patented, And the team that brings this innovation to life consists of experts with both business and scientific expertise. Our business model is mostly centered around the sales of CFA as a consumable, and we've identified future business upsides. At this stage, we've secured a multi-million-dollar sales pipeline. We are offering attractive financials and are working with renowned clients, as you can see here, on additional product market validation. At this stage, we're raising funds in order to convert additional customers before we go to full commercial sales and expand geographically. So if you want to be part of this amazing journey to take this technology to market and make a positive impact, please support us and invest in us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abndre. And yeah, good night to Asia. And we will continue our journey around the globe. It's amazing, but in 12 minutes, we will travel once around the globe and we will end up in North America again. And we come to our finalists. And it is all about healthy nutrition. And I'll hand over to you. If you could just jump to the next slide. Victor Hugo Manzanilla, we're talking about MicroSalt, and your 3 minutes up and running now.
Thank you very much, and thank you. I'm very excited to be here. I'm a proud P&G'er and CEO of MicroSalt. And what we are doing is we develop the smallest grain of salt in the world so we can give the maximum flavor with significant less sodium. In MicroSalt, we are solving one of the biggest problems in the world with a patented and very simple solution, and we are protected and we're gonna make a big change. So let me start by saying that the big problem we're solving is cardiovascular disease. So the #1 health issue in the world is cardiovascular disease, and it's connected to high blood pressure, which is connected to high sodium consumption. One of the big problems is that people don't want to change the sodium content in their foods because they really want their foods to taste well. So what we did is that we have a technology, a patented technology, to develop the smallest grain of salt on Earth. It's a particle of salt that is 100 times smaller than a regular grain of salt. So when it touches your tongue, it will dissolve immediately, and it will develop a thickness of flavor with very little sodium. So what we can do is we can use MicroSalt to change the flavor, increase the flavors while we reduce sodium consumption. So the company, as of today, is we already have production in large scale. We have 2 Fortune 500 companies currently testing MicroSalt in the portfolio. We have more than 30 companies also testing MicroSalt, and one brand that is using MicroSalt in their potato chips that is going to be distributed nationally by early Q1 2022. We did a crowdfunding. We raised close to $700,000 right now. And one of the things that excites me more about MicroSalt is our team. So our team, we comprise of several ex-P&G'ers. We have one doctor for the Mayo Clinic, a cardiovascular doctor, and we have a P&G'er board to help us develop this business. And the vision that we have is that one day we're going to be able to see in every home, instead of using salt, they will use MicroSalt. It's a simple mechanical change in the particle of salt that will change the game forever. It will help people eat and enjoy their foods with maximum flavor without the problem of the sodium. So thank you very much, and I think I give back like 30 seconds to the team.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Victor. And yeah, this was now really, I think it's a very, very tough decision. We come from a company of one pages. We are used to lots of information on one page, and now you get used to lots of information in just 12 minutes. And now it's your turn to vote for the winner. I will share with you the voting link. You can either scan the code or you just click on the link, and I guess we will post simultaneously the link in the chat. So every one of you is invited to vote now. You're today's jury, you're the audience, and think about the criteria again. Is that a distinctive product? How would you judge the market potential, the financial business strength, the team strength? Also think about the sustainability development goals. or if you don't really have a clue about many of these things, just trust your gut feel and vote like this. Whilst you are voting, I would like to give you some insights behind the scenes so that you know what was happening. You've heard that we had a global team working on this, that we had regional leaders working on this, but that there was also investors and advisors involved. And we compiled a short video for you with Claudia from the global team, Beate from the regional team, and also one investor. And they will just share their opinions, their thoughts on the catapult, on the process, so that you get some insight on what happened in the past 6 months. So please go and vote now, and I will share the video with you, which will hopefully run now. Should be running.
I think for me, it's important to give back to a community that has always supported me and has given me so much. This year, I participated behind the scenes as opposed to as an entrepreneur a few years ago. And it has been very interesting and very surprising in a very good way and amazing to see all the great entrepreneurs around the world from P&G Alumni. The quality of the ideas and the amazing entrepreneurs that participated in the catapult are really something to be so proud of as a community.
I'm always on the lookout for great ideas to invest in. It's not just always about monetary investments, but it's also investing my time, expertise, and network of contacts with them. When P&G Alumni announced the Catapult program, I signed on as advisor and investor because I believe this is a great opportunity to invest myself into great ideas that will hopefully one day turn out into a force for good and a force for growth. The P&G Catapult program links purpose-driven individuals with great ideas with equally committed advisors and investors. This hopefully will ensure the sustainability of the business as well as the world. The process of selecting the regional finalists all the way to the 4 global finalists has been a very robust one, and I'm very proud and happy to be part of it. Very glad to see the 4 finalists today, and good luck to them.
When I first heard about the P&G Alumni Startup Competition, I was intrigued with the level of entrepreneurship we would encounter. And we set out as a team to bring out the best in entrepreneurial spirit, societal and environmental value. The foundational respect that P&G alumni, advisors, investors and startups had for each other was truly impressive. And so was the diversity, with startups like NeuroPath in healthcare from Belgium or Ecoworth on environmental matters from Singapore. The power of the network is strong. Let's use it together to build business and society. And I'd just like to see a few more female founders in the competition next year.
Some more female founders. That's what we were all looking for, but still. Great founders here. Tough choice, and I'm just checking with Laura whether there's still votes coming in. If you just take the final 10 seconds to get your vote into the system, and then we will have the final winner. You can see these people are waiting for the results, and you can see some slight nervousness, but I guess we are ready to announce, and it's a tight race.
Yes.
It's a tight race, but we have a winner. And I'm happy to announce the winner to you, and it will be rewarded with a $5,000 check from our dear sponsor. And the winner is MicroSalt. It's Victor. Congratulations. Victor, just a couple of words, and also to the others, thank you so much. You all know how tight the race was, and I guess you all have great ideas, and you're already really in a good position with your business. Victor, just some final words from your end as the new P&G Alumni star entrepreneur.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. We're very excited. And, first of all, I have been through the pitch of all the other, 3 finalists, and they are doing an amazing job. And I'm impressed of what they are doing, and I'm happy to be part of this, 4 finalists. So we are very excited. Thank you for the support. We really believe, as each of the ones that were in the competition, we are doing good to the world. We are working to change the world. We're working to make a good impact in a specific case to deliver healthier but also enjoyable life through full flavor food with less sodium. So thank you very much.
So congratulations, once again, congratulations to all of you, and congratulations, of course, to MicroSalt. And I want to finish off by thanking Laura and Claudia and the regional team for the great cooperation. Thank you to all the finalists, all the people that participated. That was really a great experience. Thanks again to our sponsor, greyhairworks, which is very much appreciated. And I would like to say a special thank you at this stage to the technical team, because that was not an easy session to set up. Thank you also to you, and you had lots of patience with us. And I wish you a great rest of the conference, and we go and celebrate a bit in between. Thank you so much. Laura, any final remarks?
No, thank you very much, and stay tuned. We will have more editions of the P&G Alumni Business Catapult.
Definitely.
That was awesome. Congratulations to MicroSalt, and of course to the other finalists. Next, we're going to turn our attention to a little more recognition to the younger members of our P&G alumni community, the leaders under 40, who are creating an impact, not just by what they're doing, but how they're doing it. And I have the great delight of actually reading off their names to let you know who we're talking about, who's having this impact. So here we go. Alberto Alvarez, Rodolfo Prieto, Nico Ribernik, Daniela Court Otaola, Kashenko Aliona, Christine Fisher, Jarip Bonsal, Alexandra Bosley, Pierre Andrea Cuarta, Emma Macan Roberts, Ana Sanchez Jauregni, Amit Mukhar, Ryan Robertson, and Naveen Gupta. Congratulations. Thank you also for the contribution you are making to bettering the planet. And to continue with our leaders under 40, we have a question. What does disruption look like going forward? Who more relevant to answer this question than some leaders under 40 who we're bringing in to have a panel conversation? They're making waves in their respective fields, and we're about to hear a little more about that. Let's welcome Matt Story, Vice President at Visa, leading the organization's strategic global brand partnerships and advocacy strategy. Matt, thank you for joining us.
Oh my God, they're early. Hello everyone, hello. So I think we were adjusting a little bit to schedules, and we still are waiting on one more to join us. So if you see another face pop up, we'll introduce Alberto when he gets a chance to dial in. But I know we are very excited to talk about this topic around disruption because many of us, both in our personal and our professional lives, have had to undergo a lot of disruption over the past almost 2 years. And so I'm really excited to have the opportunity to speak with our leaders today to really understand how they have not only faced disruption, but actually turned around and made disruption to really make an impact in their own lives. So With that, I would like to turn over to our panelists, and yeah, it looks like we have Alberto joining. Great. I'd like to turn over to our panelists, and if you could each introduce yourself, and then also just share with us for what disruption means to you, and how it maybe has been present in your life over the past 2 years, or even before then. Maybe we'll start with Ihsan.
Oh, sweet. Thanks, man. Ihsan Leggett. Let's see. So proud PNG alum, claim to fame, go Loves, loves diapers all the way. For me, so right now I'm a director of a product at James Hardie's Color Plus. We're a fiber cement company, and we're actually looking to disrupt our business model. So we've shifted from a B2B business model to more B2C. I'm actually advertising directly to consumers. So getting actually people to think about their site, which is a very kind of huge task, right? For me, when I think about disruption, it's all about obsession with consumers. When I think of kind of the great brands out there, the good companies that are truly kind of shaking up industries, they really understand a consumer experience all the way from discovering the product, using the product, telling friends about the product, you have it. So to me, that's what disruption is all about, like a deep understanding of consumers. And those companies that really understand that ultimately win. And I think that's the challenge, because sometimes it's very hard to kind of pivot from your existing business model to further serve the consumers that you have. But that's what it's all about.
Awesome. That's great. Judy, let's hear from you.
Hello. Nice to meet you. Sorry about that if you saw my kids 2 seconds ago. I was trying to put them to, and then we were live. So that was awesome. So nice to meet you all. My name is Judy. I'm originally Turkish. I started my career in the Canadian office of P&G, and then I transferred over to Geneva about 13 years ago. So I'm still in Geneva, Switzerland. I left P&G in 2015 because I became really obsessed with health and wellness. And I opened a juice business called Bonjour and started creating healthy green smoothies and juices. And I exited that business in 2019. I started to do some consulting work, innovation consulting. And one of the projects that I was working on basically turned into my new business, which is 100 Plus. And I'm co-founder and CEO. And we basically are leveraging data to help people live longer and feel better. So we're developing software now, and we just raised our seed capital, and we're building our team. So pretty exciting. I've had a pretty non-linear career path with many different pivots, and it's been, I would say, a bit of a story of disruption. So when you ask me what disruption means to me, what I think about is actually growth. Because every time I experience a major change in my life, a pivot, which may or may not have been predictable or expected, what ends up happening is once I recover from that and I direct my focus in a direction of what I can do and what's available to me, and the meaning I take from it becomes about something where I can grow, then all of that takes me down a positive path. So frankly, when I think about disruption, I just think about it as something which leads me to a path of growth and change. So nice to meet you.
That's great. Alberto, do you want to intro yourself and tell us what you think disruption means?
Sure. So Matt, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm here talking to all of you. It's an honor to be talking to the P&G Alumni organization, where, by the way, I have many very, very close friends, and even more talking about disruption and innovation, which is a topic I'm very passionate about. So I'm the CEO of LDM Holding. We are a group of companies focused on marketing and ad tech innovation under the motto of future-proof your success. So we're a group of around 200 people working in 9 countries. Our group has 3 main companies. Our main company focuses on digital marketing performance and consultancy for big advertisers, such as P&G, by the way. Another of our companies managed the first official Google representative operation in a project to evolve the go-to-market Google in emerging markets in countries where they don't have offices. And finally, we manage a small investment fund to focus on Latin American startups that are doing work on artificial intelligence on marketing. So, disruption, innovation is in our DNA. So to your question, for me, disruption is not small changes. are significant changes and looking for exponential impact. Now, I want to take a moment to create awareness about exponential growth and exponential thinking. So think about this. If you have $1 and you can double it each day for just 30 days, so go from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8, do you know how much do you get? Matt, do you mind to take a guess? Just a quick guess.
A lot.
So you get 500 million. So from 1 to 500 millions in just 1 month, thinking on exponential growth, all right? So now, this is of course just a math exercise. My point here is we need to open our minds, and every time we think on disruption, think on how we can get exponential thinking and exponential growth. And by the way, for all of you who want to know more about exponential thinking, I'm very open to share books, references, podcasts for you to start your journey. And Matt, we can figure it out later, how to share it. Thanks.
That's great. That's great. So I want to come back to you, Alberto, and just really focus in on, as you think about growth, you think about kind of that exponential nature, what's a learning that you took away from managing it through that perspective, whether it be in your career, your life, or even just as the industry has gone through disruption?
That's a very good question. So let me share a quick story about our disruption journey. Around 2 years ago, we decided to prepare our company for exponential growth. So in our case, we did 3 key interventions among many others. We moved from one company doing many things to a group of companies, so a holding structure with an umbrella concept of future-proof on your success, and have independent but focused companies doing, just one thing. That was key for us. The next, we started thinking about what we call economies of thinking versus economies of production. So an economy of production is an economy that focuses on manufacturing, lowering costs, looking for efficiencies. An economy of thinking focuses on high value, high impact, abundance. So that's where we focus on now. And third, we made a clear commitment to what we call borderless talent approach. So we hire talent everywhere they are, disregard of the country, because at the end we need to have the best talent possible, independent of where they live. Now, key learnings from our case to create disruption. First of all, have a why. Why do you want to change? It's not just the change per se, it's why. The second, and this is the most critical part, is have a north. Where do you want to go to, right? Then if you have those two, create a path with milestones. So I want to go from here to here, and I will do this, and this to get there. Then I will repeat this several times: study and learn, study and learn, study and learn. You cannot make innovation if you don't know what you're doing, if you know what's coming. So in our case, for example, when we were thinking about exponential growth, I dedicated at least 3 to 4 months to truly understand what exponential thinking was about, even before starting to having conversation with my leadership team. And finally, has feedback loops. So do, measure, learn, optimize, do again, and do again many times. And just remember that, be clear with yourself, with your team and your organization, that changes takes time. It's marathons usually, not sprints. Maintain your focus. That would be my learnings.
Wow, I think that was definitely almost a book in itself that we could sell and give people the opportunity to have kind of a cheat sheet to how to face disruption. Judy, I want to come to you because you mentioned it as growth. And I think a lot of the times it's your mindset of how you think about it in terms of how you're able to both manage it and navigate. So when you think about disruption as something you could actually seek, how do you think about it for using it for growth or using it for advancement?
So great question. So first thing, I want to explain a concept called hormesis. So in my industry, which is longevity, technology and longevity, but really we focus on the science of living longer and aging well. Hormesis is a concept, basically, in a nutshell, it's about how positive stress can help us to grow. It's short, intermittent bursts of stressors can trigger an increased growth response in the body. So it's important, the dose is important and the frequency is important. So if we're constantly under a lot of stress without giving ourselves a chance to recover, then it's not good. It's chronic stress and it can burn us out. But short bursts of positive stress can actually help us live longer. So some examples are, eating stressed food, fermented food, wine are some examples, like colorful plants are plants that have been through this process. Intermittent fasting, so literally taking the body through a period where you don't eat a lot or you just drink water. High intensity training, where you're kind of putting your body under a lot of stress for a short period of time. So even strength training. So there's lots of examples, even cognitive things, like going to a new country, learning a new language. So all of these things can result in positive growth. But what's really important is that we plan rest and recovery as part of that. So, when I've talked to some organizations about the concept of resilience, and I feel like resilience, if disruption is kind of like the battlefield, then resilience is our armor. So the more we can do to build up our own resilience, the better equipped we are to be in a world which is essentially constantly changing and constantly under disruption. So coming back to what I was saying, how do you seek it? I think the first thing is just understanding this concept of hormesis. Stress can be a positive thing, but we need to manage it and we need to see it like that. And we need to plan our rest and recovery. The second piece is, it's about, as you were saying, actually, Alberto, you were talking about finding a why, finding your North Star. And the way I talk about it is making meaning. So in any change situation, anytime there's a story, wow, did everybody hear that as well? The echo? Okay, it's right now. Okay, so there's the facts of the story, and then there's the meaning that we make about the facts. And that is where our power lies. Because facts, we can't change. Facts are what they are. We were in a pandemic. Things changed for the worse. Some things changed for the better. Now, the question is, what do we do with those facts? How do we attach meaning to those facts? Do those facts end up with a growth story? Wow, all these things happen and they led me from here to here. And now from this place, I have these opportunities in my hands. Or do they lead us to a negative place where we're feeling victimized by our circumstances? So I think it's literally how to seek stress and turn it into an engine for growth and advancement is just, I think, starting with consciousness. It's really just being aware of where you are in this process. Are you seeing change as a positive thing? Are you planning rest and recovery as to help your body physically cope with these changes? And are you making meanings that allow you to grow?
That's great. I think, all of us have a shared experience of working at Procter, and I think you all have shown kind of bravery and both confidence in going out and charting a path that built on those experiences and those lessons learned. And so, Ihsan, I'd love it if you could talk a little bit about what experiences have helped you lean into disruption, and what are those, maybe using, what Judy shared, what are those moments of stress that created that resilience and allowed you to really be able to see it as an opportunity versus seeing it as something that's happening to us?
Yeah, the moments of stress is, aligning my wife's actually doing a change for sure. But I'd say it starts with the fact that we all have worked at Procter & Gamble or are currently work at Procter & Gamble means you're likely highly intelligent. So I think it's having that self-confidence that, okay, if a situation is thrown at me, I can likely handle it. So I remember even coming into P&G, I had a mentor as an ABM, a guy named Sonny Jandal, who worked at new business creation, which I thought was fascinating, right? And I was like, hey, man, I want to work in your group. He was like, slow down, kid, be an ABM first, right? And so throughout my P&G career, I gained the skill sets I wanted to gain. And then I stuck to the vision and goal I had to eventually get into a new business creation type group. Now it's called P&G Ventures. But the point is, you have to understand what strengths you have and what goals and visions you have, and don't get dissuaded by other people's opinions, right? Because we've all had mentors who say, oh, you should do this because that's what they did, right? And it's not like they're trying to be harmful. They just know what they know best because that's what they lived. So you have to be focused and know your strengths and then go for it. And so for me, when I left P&G, I wanted to get startup experience. And working at startups is scary as hell, to be honest. However, I think the benefit of it is a guy named Dave Knox, another P&G alum, gave me guidance on how to think about the type of startups you should go to. It's like Hassan, most P&Gers would not do well at like a seed round or Series A. Won't happen because you're too much for a Procter, right? Versus like you want to go to a later stage company where they can actually value your skill set. He was spot on, right? Because I've gone to both. I've gone to earlier startups and later stage startups, and it's about understanding, okay, do people value your skills so they see the benefits that your skill set has to help them get to the next level? So that's another piece. And then I would say, to give you the confidence, understand the consumer trends. I think what P&G has taught us all very well is really how to deeply understand consumers and like all kind of the qualitative, I call it squishy stuff. There's a quant side to everything, but the qual, like sitting on the living room floor, talking to a mom as she's playing with their kids, right? To understand, okay, what's it like to be a second-time mom for the Loves campaign? Like those type of skills help you start to connect dots and see other things that most people won't see, for at least in terms of a branding and consumer perspective. Then ultimately, you just got to go for it, because at the end of the day, because you have this track record of success at a Procter or wherever you end up landing, you're going to be all right. Like you'll be able to eat, you'll be able to get, make money, like you'll be fine. So I think you just got to go for it and not be scared.
That's great advice. Judy, I want to come back to you because as a founder, I think, you're really creating the path for your group and your organization. So if there's someone out there listening and they're at a crossroads in their career, they're about to make a big decision, what's the advice that you would give them for navigating that tough decision, planning for a new goal, shifting potentially into a new area, and taking into consideration how to plan for disruption that they're causing in their journey?
That's a great question. I would say that it's okay to be afraid. The path of an entrepreneur and the path of really, I think it's not even just about entrepreneurship. It's not linear, and it's really, all you can be sure of is that things are not going to turn out the way you expect that they will. So I think sometimes people believe that they have to feel really confident and really sure before they start taking action. And I would posit that it's the other way around. I think that it's the action and it's the momentum that creates the confidence. So sometimes we may not feel ready to act because we don't have enough information. We don't feel certain enough. The future is unclear. The path is unclear. The duration of the stress is unclear. So we tend to kind of stay where we are because of this uncertainty. But when we stay where we are, we don't learn and we can't create momentum. And it's that momentum that we need that will actually create that confidence and get us to the next stage. I wanted to share a little, because I'm a total science geek, and I love it. And it's a concept which is really, I think, pertinent to what we're talking about, called duration path outcome, DPO. And it's literally what the brain is trying to do to assess situations and assess stress all the time. The brain is constantly, how long is this going to last? How are we going to get there? What's it going to look like at the end? Duration, path, outcome. So this is actually one of the big reasons why COVID was so stressful, because when you looked at it, it was like duration, no idea. Path could be a million different paths. Outcome, nobody knows what it's going to look like at the end. So when all of those things are changing, it can create a feeling of paralysis, because you can't really contain or control any of those variables. So within that, the key, and coming back to your question, what do you do when you're faced with this? The key is action. It's momentum. So when you look at those options, I would say, start to do some scenario planning. So assuming that, this situation is going to last this long, and assuming that the outcome is going to look like this, what are some ways we can get there? Let's plan. And what are some small steps we can take today to learn if this approach is working for us or not? So really, that's what I would say, is just accept that it's uncertain. This is the world we live in today, whether you're facing a career change or whether you're just facing a lot of changes in your work. It's just uncertain. So accept that it is the way it is. Focus your mind on what you can control, which is your mindset and your actions, and just focus on one variable at a time, and just take action so that you can learn and create momentum.
That's great. I love the DPO framework of how not only the brain works, but how we could use that to our advantage by recognizing that's how we're wired.
I just want to give credit where it's due. That's Andrew Huberman. He's an incredible neuroscientist from Stanford. I love his work.
Awesome. So my next question, I actually want to throw to all of you, because we've talked a lot about the individual that may be experiencing disruption, but many of us sit within organizations that our impact is really tied to working with teams and working with others that are facing disruption together collectively. So Alberto, maybe we'll start with you. What is the biggest challenges you see organizations facing, and how are they going about being able to plan for disruption or the future disruption that's around the corner?
Sure. I think I would connect with what I was talking before. For me, the biggest challenge in disruption is lack of clarity of the north, right? Where do we want to go? What do we want to do? And that cascades to many other barriers. Now, let me give you an example on a related topic. Every time I hear someone saying, going back to the entrepreneurship and I'm quitting, question. Every time I hear someone saying, I'm going to quit to become an entrepreneur, my first question I ask is, okay, to do what? No, to become an entrepreneur. Sure, to do what? No, I want to create a startup. Again, to do what? So if a person cannot answer a question as simple as that, in my mind, what I think is very, very, very low chances of success. Because the point is, entrepreneurship is a mean, it's not an end. You want to do something, you want to go somewhere. And because you want to do that, the mean is you become an entrepreneur. So the same thing happens on organizations with disruptions and innovation. Innovation is a mean, it's not an end. So you need to understand, where do you want to go? What do you want to change? Or what do you think could be better that is not done right now? And then you do the innovation, and that makes sense. Once you have that clarity, for me, is much easier to move forward.
That's great. Somebody want to go next?
I love this question, and I love the answer to Alberto. I wanted to just say one thing. I think that organizations can do a better job of creating a feeling of organizational safety. So employees feel, number one, they have to understand the North Star. So I completely agree with what you said. They need to know where they're going. Otherwise, everybody is going in different directions. But once they understand where they're going, I think people need to know that it's okay to take a risk. It's okay not to know. So this whole DPO thing, right? We're all under the same situation. We're all in the same stress, whether it's the executive or the assistant. We're all facing our own levels of DPO. So I think the first thing is just vocally admitting that we are in a place of uncertainty and that we don't know. And we're taking our best, most calculated, risks and bets, but we're not sure, and it's okay to fail, and it's okay, but it's expected to learn, and it's expected to keep going. So I think by showing that vulnerability and showing that openness to learning and to growing despite uncertainty, I think that creates a feeling where the organization, they feel like they can also act, and they don't have to be perfect, and they don't have to have all the answers. So I think that for me is a key responsibility of organizations, to create a culture where people thrive in stressful situations.
Yeah, my build will be getting people ready for change. No one really likes it. So right now I'm dealing with an organization that, we have a large sales force that's kind of done something the same way for generations. So, okay, how do you get people to really understand who the heck this consumers are going after? So when I did consumer interviews, I videotaped everything, right? And I made a little hero film so someone actually can literally meet these consumers. So very kind of classic P&G stuff. But for a lot of people, oh, wow, this is who we're serving. So the ability to help people understand the problem in a really simple way, I think is helpful in order to prepare them for like innovation and disruption. I think the other piece as well is like, what are the small prototypes you can do from a pilot standpoint? I think when you kind of do a student body left and you have this massive investment, I think people will kind of get worried. Versus if you do some small tests and prototypes to build people's confidence, and have a small kind of core team to kind of build and add in more people and more prototypes and bigger pilots, it helps. So no one likes change. I mean, even people at startups don't like change. So don't be fooled by, oh, no, like people don't like change. So you got to take the time to help people understand the problem and then give them small little things they can do to learn and experiment.
Yeah, that's great. I think the one thing that is coming across a lot of the advice and the answers that all of you are sharing is this idea of being intentional. And whether it's making that organization prepare for change, whether it's understanding how the brain works, whether it's really building that trust, having the North Star, that requires some intentionality. And so for those that are hoping to bring that intentionality to their organization, how would you suggest they inspire disruptive leadership in their organization to make it a part of the DNA of the culture that they're in? What are some steps that they could take? And Alberto, we'll start with you.
Sure. Well, for leaders, for me, it's lead by example. Personally, lead innovation process or journeys in your company, demonstrate it can be done and how to do it. And even critical to it on a regular basis. But you know what, Matt? I want to focus on a different path here. I want to focus more, because people always think as the leaders, they need to bring, the inspiration and they need to enable others. But I see another way. And this is a message for the younger part of the organization, mid-level, even entry levels. This is a key concept I want you to get. Innovators are those who do, not those who think. Everyone thinks, everybody has ideas. Innovators are the ones that can make that idea happen, all right? So understand that convincing people, convincing top management, removing barriers is an essential part of the innovation process. It's not a reason for not innovating. You want to be an innovator, you need to remove barriers every day, all the time. No, Judy, I think you have removed many barriers along your career, I'm sure, on your field. So if you're not removing barriers to get to the execution, you are not really innovating. So the young organization, the mid-level organization has to become better every time in identifying the path, identifying the barriers, and plan on how to resolve it and how to go and execute. So it's on your hands. It's not only on the leadership part of the organization. That will be my key message here.
It's great. There's that idea of action coming back and focusing in on what are the actions that I can take to bring it into the organization and not just being the words. Judy, any thoughts on how you would encourage people?
Yeah, I just want to say this is so lovely to be in this panel. It's so great to be surrounded by peers. Again, we have such an amazing culture. I feel like every time I talk to you guys, I'm inspired. And this feeling of ownership, doesn't it come so clearly? Like, we are so results driven and we are such owners of our businesses. It's really inspiring. I love that. I was just thinking about this great question, and I feel like, there's a book, Good to Great, Jim Collins, one of the legendary books, and it's an oldie, but it's a goodie. And one of the factors he talks about in this resilient leadership, companies that, stand the test of time, are leaders that can face the brutal reality, super transparent leaders. They understand the facts. They see them for what they are. So there's not rosy colored glasses. They really see the brutal reality and they call it what it is. And at the same time, they paint a really hopeful picture of the future. So I think leadership that inspires, is really are really people who can hold space for both of those at the same time. Here's where we're at, the brutal reality, and here's where we're going, and an infallible commitment to delivering on that.
Great. Any last thoughts from you, Hassan, before we close out?
Yeah, I'd say I'd give you a P&Gism, learn from the outside. So I remember organizing trips to see startups while I was at P&G. So I would take the whole leadership team. We would go out and we would leave garages, right? And you're actually seeing someone, because I think one of the challenges we all have at large organizations, we kind of think we got to build it ourselves. And I promise you that the gift that we have being a cash flow positive organizations is that we can do the research. We can understand what the problem is. That next step you should do and just, let's go build the answer. Do a little search and see if there's some startup who's probably identified the same thing in a different way. And it's basically solving the problem, because you could maybe acquire that company, but you could definitely partner with them because they would love to help. So to me, it's about learning from the outside. And the last tip I give is design thinking. I'm a huge fan of design thinking. It's a classic kind of IDEO, the ability to prototype and iterate. Honest to God, I just used that skill set like last week with a literal sheet of paper and got like amazing insights from like 3 people in the office without spending a dime. So having that ability, if you guys don't know about design thinking, highly recommend it.
Awesome. That's great. Well, I think we are right at time. I want to first thank all of you for participating in this chat. Learned a lot. I'm sure anybody tuning in also took away a lot. So appreciate you sharing your wisdom and gained experiences with this group. And wish everyone a great rest of their day, night, morning, whatever time it is where you are.
Sweet. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, guys.
Alberto, Judy. Awesome.
Yeah, it was so fun. Nice to meet you all.
You too. Bye.
Wow, thank you so much, Matt, Judy, Hassan, Alberto. What an awesome panel full of inspirational and wise nuggets. And I have to, before we close this session, I have to do a little backtracking. And I had committed a sin of omission, and I ask for your forgiveness to one person who I did not mention with our names of our leaders under 40, and that's Lauren McKenna. Lauren, I'm terribly sorry that I left you out, and I want to acknowledge you now and congratulate you as well.